Hey guys, I am back, and look at the lineup in front of you. What you are looking at here is every knife from the 2018 Ravencrest Ravenpac subscription. People really like when I did this with the Knife of the Month from BattleBox, the whole year of the Knife of the Month. And I had a little poll on my Facebook page if folks would like it if I did the same thing with Ravencrest, and people said yeah, they'd like to see that from Ravencrest. So what you can't see, there's one more way off screen, just kind of you see the corner right there. But we have 12 knives lined up. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at each knife. We're going to talk a little bit about each knife. The cool thing about the Ravencrest subscription is that overall, you know, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm a fan of the subscription. Look at that, I look like a shadow beast. Ooh. I'm in a different place. Sometimes I record videos up here instead of where I normally do, and the lighting is very different. But I like the Ravencrest subscription overall. I'm not thrilled with every knife. For the price that you pay, and so here's how Ravenpac works. $9.99 a month plus shipping. It comes out to about $16 or $17 every month. You get the knife of the month. And it's a surprise. You don't know what you're going to get. Once these knives are online on sale on the Ravencrest website, they go for anywhere from, you know, $30 to sometimes $60, $70. Now, I do not agree with the markup. I would pay maybe, you know, $30 or $40 for some of these, but I believe that for the price of the subscription, it's a pretty good deal. You're getting a good knife most of the time for that price. When they mark it up, you know, not so much. But sometimes, I don't know, we'll discuss it as we go. But for the price of the subscription, of the Ravenpac subscription, I believe that every month you're at least getting your money's worth, if not a little bit more. So, going into it, you know, I'm not going to lie, I am a fan of this subscription. I have been mostly happy, let down every now and then by some of the knives, but if you ask me if I were to recommend this subscription, I would say yes. Absolutely, I would recommend. Much better than something like Knifebox. So, anyway, we're gonna start on this end on January. We're gonna talk about the knives. I'm gonna talk about my feelings of each knife, and we'll go straight through. And 2018 is the first year that I was subscribed for a full year. I started in the tail end of 2017, but 2018 was my first 12 straight months subscribed. So the knife for January 2018 was the Phantom Kukri. It's a spring assist knife, has a satin finish Kukri style blade, glass breaker. It's adjustable left hand, right hand, but it is permanently tip up. I get 2 every month so that I can keep one, because Ravencrest also has kind of a cool deal. So if you subscribe to the Ravenpac, or I guess, you know, even if you don't, you can buy 10 Ravencrest knives, and you can trade 10 of them in for one of their mini OTFs. Now, there are some conditions that go along with that. You could check that out on the Ravencrest website. But, so I get 2 every month. One that I always keep in my collection, and then sometimes I do some work on, you know, the other one, or I give it away. In my current giveaway contest going on right now, I've got one of these and one of these as prizes. And by the way, there'll be a link to the giveaway video in the description here if you want to get in on that, if you're not in on already. But, so my other Phantom had a little bit of blade play in it. The finishing is usually very good from Ravencrest, actually, and the finishing on the Kukri Phantoms were very good. While the Kukri I don't feel is an ideal folding knife platform, you know, in a fixed blade it does have, you know, great potential, great uses. This clip I don't like. This is not the normal Ravencrest clip that you'll see through most of these knives. The normal Ravencrest clip I like a lot better than this, but this clip bites into the hand a little bit, my point of view only. This is a decent size for large hands, and you know, decent tension, good tension on this one. They ended up giving this exact same frame with a different blade in January 2019. I did not like it so much. It had weaker tension. Both of mine had weaker tension than the Kukri. I think that the Kukri was done a lot better. So G10 scales, steel liners. I think this is actually a plastic kind of back cap right there with your glass breaker. But an interesting knife, a nice weight, good balance. Interesting knife for the lineup. Interesting way to start off the year. What came in February, this is the clip that we see most of the time on these Ravencrest knives, and I really like this clip. Some of them have a cutout, a space in it, but it's this shape overall, and this is a much more comfortable clip as far as I'm concerned. This one is the, I don't have a name for it. It actually, in prepping for the video, I checked the website. This one's not even on their website anymore. So if you have this, great. I guess you're not going to get this one anymore unless they bring it back. But this is their tactical flipper. You can see it's part serrated blade. Green G10. I really like this green G10. I wish they'd bring this color G10 back in another knife. This one is totally manual. Ball bearing. Great action on this knife. Great action. Very comfortable handle, especially with that clip. Unfortunately for me, and this is just my taste, it's tip down only. But, that's just, my taste. But the action on this is great. Weight and balance on this is great. Nice drop point blade. It's got jimping that is kind of in line with the liners. So it's down there. You can feel it, but it's down in there. Great lockup on this one. Whether you use thumb studs or you use the flipper. This was a really nice knife. This was very good for EDC. I mean, they went for a nice tactical look. This was not my favorite Ravencrest knife. We'll get to my favorite one. But this was a pretty cool looking one. Now, I'm not a serrated knife fan. I like a nice fine edge the whole way through. I would have liked this one a little bit better if it just had a straight, non-serrated edge. I would have found it a little bit more useful. But, they wanted it to be a tactical type knife, and a lot of tactical type knives have serrations on it. And those are pretty aggressive serrations. So, but again, lightweight. Some of their knives have come with sheaths. This would have been a great one to put with a sheath. Maybe a Molly-compatible sheath to go with your gear or something. But this was February's knife. And again, I can't find this one on the website anymore. Most of these are still on the website. March was the first fixed blade of the year, but the second fixed blade Ravencrest sent me. The first fixed blade I actually gave away to one of my Patreon members. Now, this is the Ravencrest Tactical OD Green Tactical Survival Knife. Nice blade. Biggest problem with this is the perfectly round handle. That is not something you want on a knife. And, here's why. The knife handle should be made to index the blade in your hand. What that means is when you pick up the blade, that cutting edge should be natural, where you pick it up and you know exactly where that cutting edge is. If you were to pick this thing up and you weren't looking right at it, you have no idea where that cutting edge is. So it should be a nice natural flow down your arm to the cutting edge of that knife. And this one just didn't have it. It's a nice grip. It's a nice rubberized grip. It feels good. The width is good, but that perfectly round handle is just not a way to go. Again, being tactical, we've got the half serrated edge. It has a typical survival knife blade with a phosphate coating. It's a nice coating. It just, good length and all for survival knife. Not feeling the handle, and the handle killed it for me. Glass breaker on the end though. It would be cool, nice nostalgia throwback, if they did the old 80s standard Rambo survival knife. You could unscrew the top and put stuff in the handle. I mean, if you're going to give that round handle survival knife anyway, you could put like a survival kit in there or something. Comes with a Digiflage sheath that fits all the standard Pals webbing, Molly gear type stuff, plastic insert. So the sheath is pretty tough. It's a nice sheath. I just, the whole thing with the handle kind of killed the knife for me, because it's the least efficient way to design a knife handle. It's the easiest way to design a knife handle, but it's not what you want for a rough and tough survival knife type blade. But there was March. April was really interesting, actually. So this one did come with a sheath, with a pouch that you can carry. I don't have the pouch in front of me. This one was the 3-blade multi-knife. This was definitely an outdoorsman type knife. So first, you had your traditional drop point cutting edge, and each one has its own lock-back lock. Then you had a very nice serrated saw edge which was pretty functional when I tested it. And then you had a gut hook kind of skinning edge, which also works great as a rescue knife if you need to get in and strip somebody's clothes or seatbelt or something in a rescue situation. So this is more of a, outdoorsman hunting type knife with nice rubberized scales, great separate locks for all three, so there's no mechanical problems in it. I like this knife. At first I didn't, and in my initial review I was kind of like iffy on it, but it actually, it's nice and thick, so you get a really good grip on it. The rubberized portions let you really hold on to it nice and firm. There's no clip on the knife itself, unfortunately. There's also no lanyard hole on it, unfortunately, which would be great when you're doing outdoors tasks with this thing. But, like I said, it comes with the pouch, and you get kind of 3 tools in one, which is pretty good, because there are some fancier companies that make versions of this, which are really no better than this, except for the fact they have a clip and a lanyard hole. That's the only thing that they have that this doesn't, for a lot more than the Ravenpac subscription price. Even online, they only raise the price by about $10 when if you were to buy it directly from Ravencrest standalone, not from the subscription. So it's actually a really useful kind of tool. A little bit of blade play in this one, and you know what? It's hard to get these all lined up and to have them move smoothly. I never really tried adjusting the pivot on this, which might handle that blade play perfectly. But both of these were very good tools. I gave one to a friend of mine. He actually took it on a deployment with him, just to see if it was useful, and it was very useful for him. So the April knife, the 3-blade multi-knife, while I kind of scoffed at it a little bit at first, it has great uses to hunters, to outdoorsmen. It was a really good knife for the money. You got a lot of knife for your money in April. And, to this day, doing Cub Scout stuff with my son and everything, I really like this knife. And it gave me an opportunity, on a side note, to show the scouts how to use 3 separate tools for 3 different purposes with one knife in my hand, which was pretty good. So, April 2018, the 3-blade multi-knife. May 2018 is probably my absolute favorite Ravencrest knife in history, and that is the Fury. To me, this is where they got style, they got function, they got everything right. I love this blade. I love this handle. They got the right clip on there. They got ball bearings, just the right tension in the detent. Everything came together, the stars aligned. I absolutely love the Fury. This is my all-time favorite Ravencrest knife, and I actually have one of these in the shop right now that I'm redoing, just cosmetically. And I can't wait till it's done. I've had to put it on the back burner a lot because there's stuff in the shop and, customers' knives that I've been working on and stuff. But this is a great knife. You've got the recurve blade, so you've got plenty of slicing power. You've got a nice belly on it. The weight is great. Tip down, right hand, which suits me just fine. I know that might not be for everybody, but from my taste, my point of view, great. Thumb stud deployment is awesome. I mean, it is just so smooth. It's so smooth you can just shake the knife down. This is, I would pay for the engineering. If it came in a fancier material, I could see myself paying for a lot more for this knife. This is worth a lot more than I actually paid. I really, really love carrying the Fury around. And I do routinely, I carry the Fury. It's in my EDC, rotation. It's got a great, I don't know if you can see the point very well, it's got a great fine tip point. It does great fine tip work for me at the shop. It is all around a great knife. This was a real winner in my mind. And this is kind of the knife that I measure all my other Ravencrest knives against. So May 2018, the Fury, amazing knife. Love this knife. Absolutely love this knife. June was, it was an interesting knife. So, I've seen a lot of these kinds of, these little Wharncliffe type blades around. A viewer of mine sent me one in titanium. This one is very lightweight though. And this one was also very useful in the shop. I like this one. I don't carry it that much though. I honestly don't. But it's very light. Again, right hand tip up only, which works for me. Doesn't work for everybody. They call this one the Modern Simplex. It also has very, very strong detent, but that means you get a crisp snap every time you open it. It's more like a small utility knife that you can carry around everywhere you go. The one that was sent to me by a viewer was titanium scales and D2 steel, so it's just a little bit tougher than this one, which is why I don't often carry this one. I use this to practice using the laser with G10, which is very different than using the laser with metal, and you can see it mixed results there. I like this one. I like it a lot because it's very light, because it's very convenient, and it has, again, a very, very nice fine point edge that you can do a lot of work with. This is also relatively on the inexpensive side on the website. Lightweight, small, fits in your pocket. If you carry, you know, it's the kind of thing where you can use it for EDC, but you can also use it as like a box cutter at, you know, if you're working in a shop or that kind of facility or something like that. It has a lot of different utility use to it. It has more utility value than anything else. Aesthetics wise, look, it's not pretty, it's not fancy, it's made to be a utility tool, and it excels at that. That's what it is. But it was really fun for a little bit, and then I was just like, you know what, I have other tools that do what this does, so I'm gonna leave this one at home. But I still, obviously, still in my collection. The second one I gave to another co-worker in the shop. I engraved her name on it with a laser too, just messing around with the laser and playing with it. So we have matching knives now, and I think she still carries hers to the shop every day though. So here was June 2008. July was another fixed blade. July was the fixed blade Kukri, which honestly I wasn't a big fan of. I think as Kukris go, it's small, you know, and the whole thing about the Kukri is to give you chopping power and weight and heft up front. It is a little bit small. I also noticed when looking at Michael Hawk's Peregrine knife, it's remarkably similar in handle design and, you know, finish to his knife. And he swears his knife came out first. I'm not saying anybody stole anything from anybody, but it is what it is. It's not the kind of knife that I would carry around. It's just not the kind of knife that I'd carry around camping, hiking, you know, on a survival trip or deployed or anything. It sort of is one of those knives where I was like, I don't know. It's good to have in a collection. It's a nice collection piece. It's not, I like the finish on it because it looks like a very rustic, hand-worn finish, you know, handmade finish, even though I know it's all machined. I'm still wondering how they do this finish. As I've said in a couple other videos, this looks like you know, a hand-hammered piece with lots of inclusions in the metal and, you know, like just, yeah, it's interesting. I know how that happens by accident when you don't want it to. I don't know how they do that on purpose. But it wasn't really doing it for me. I wasn't a big fan of this one. It's definitely an interesting piece. I don't feel like the daily, you know, I can see it chopping and, you know, using it like when you're trying to do survival stuff. I don't see it as a daily use knife though, like, you know, when you're camping or doing something like that. The sheath is very simple. One belt loop. There's no internal support though or anything. It's just got some very, very light plastic lining, and it goes in. But the weight's not bad. If you're looking for, you know, like a small scale chopping knife, the weight's not bad on it. So something you can carry around. August brought what I thought was another winner, the Ambassador. This is a really good looking knife. This is a really useful knife. It's a good feeling knife. It's simple, but it looks good. It just looks good. Reminds me a lot of the Benchmade 581, and in more modern days, their Crooked River line. But at the same time, I really like it. The two-tone finish blade. I like the metal bolster with the G10 scale. I love the clip placement. Still, right hand, tip up only, but that's good. Don't you change that. I mean, that works for me. Really nice detail on the pivot, though. You know, artistic. Just throwing a little extra in there for you. Solid lockup. Bearings again. And great flipping action. So this is, I mean, to me, this is a classic. If you're going to carry a knife around for daily use and maybe something that's in your pocket when shit hits the fan, you know, and you need a good solid knife, this is a blade shape that is going to be useful to you in any situation. I really like the Ambassador. I still like the Fury. I love the Fury. The Fury's weight and feel is, to me, a little bit better than this. but the utility value of the Ambassador is awesome. I love the Ambassador. It has such a great feel. The mechanics of it are awesome. It fits in your hand. It just fits in your hand great, and the jimping up there is perfect. So I thought that this was kind of, I was a little disappointed right here, and then they came back with a real winner, and I was thrilled. I was super thrilled to get the Ambassador. I'm not sure where the name comes from, but I don't care. It's just a really, really nice EDC carry. It could even almost be a gentleman's carry. I mean, with the design and the styling. It's a really, really nice blade. So this is one that I also really recommend. I've carried this around too. Came razor sharp, finished beautifully out of the box, and I get compliments on this one too. Even though it's really not a fancy, expensive knife, people really like the styling of it. September was really interesting. September we got the Defender Spike, which I had to compare to the Benchmade Sock P dagger. I had to. Very similar design, very similar, construction. This is not for me. I just flat out, this was not for me. This is a tool for stabbing, throwing. You could refine this edge and make it a cutting tool, but this is, yes, and I realize it's a self-defense tool. It is. But I don't like to carry a one-purpose tool around. Like a knife, if you know how to use it, is a self-defense tool also, and you can use it for other things. I was not pleased with this at all. And, if I had to carry one, I like the Benchmade version better, frankly. I like the sheath on the Benchmade version better. I like the feel on the Benchmade version better. The sheath here is, when you put the whole thing in, it's very large and awkward no matter where you carry it. It's got a nice clip that holds very well. You could also wear it as a neck knife if you want something this big dangling. But it's just a very large thing to be protruding wherever you have it. Now, with the second one, decided I was going to see if a wrap on the handle kind of made it feel any better. And it does, actually. With a wider handle, it does feel a lot better. You get a lot better grip on it, no matter how you're going to hold it and use it. I'm really glad that I took the time to do a nice wrap here at a 550 cord. And so if I was going to carry one, I would carry this, and it does not affect use in the sheath at all. In fact, it feels really good, but it's not the kind of thing that I am prone to carry. I guess there's some people out there that like it. I have seen videos of people throwing it, and if you have fun with throwing knives and stuff, I guess that's good, but that's not what I'm into the subscription for. I was really let down by this one. I don't consider this so much a knife as a spike, as a dart. But it is what it is. It came in the subscription, and we haven't seen anything like it since. So, there. October was actually a kind of a cool knife. October was the Huntsman. Get it? October Harvest Huntsman. I like this knife. This was a really nice Wharncliffe fixed blade. One of the things I said in my review was it had the look and feel of kind of a cheap knife because of the handle, but that shouldn't be taken to mean I don't like the knife. It is a very comfortable handle, and it is a great chopping knife. It is a great slicing knife. This is the kind of knife that you can go off into the woods with, and it will do just about anything you need. And I did some chopping with it. I did some slicing with it. It is a kind of a thin blade. It is a very thin blade. I'd like something a little bit thicker, but you know what? We're not getting a thicker blade. It is what it is, and it is a very good, and it is a good weight. Balance-wise is very nice. Like I said, very comfortable, no hot spots, and you get a nice, long, straight edge for slicing, for chopping, for doing just about any task you might have to do in just about any situation. Leather sheath, which is really nice, simple, belt loop and snap, nothing too fancy, but it kind of goes with the theme of the knife. I love the two-tone finish and stonewashed all the way around. So October was, again, a good recovery for me from the knife I didn't like. I really liked this Huntsman. I was contemplating doing something artistic to the other one in the shop. I still might. I haven't decided. I just haven't decided, but like I said, the weight and balance on this, like if you need to use this for a good chop, it's there. If you need to just do your kind of crafting chores or just food prep or whatever, this is a great knife for that, and a reasonable price too. So I really liked the Huntsman fixed blade. November brought us the Omega Tactical Folder, which was not thrilled with, and you saw that right there. Did not have the same D10 strength on either of the ones I got as some of the others. I had a number of complaints. Number one, this flipper. So that flipper becomes a pain in the finger when it's open. Number two, small handle. I got big hands, and I'm sure a lot of other users have big hands, and that made it kind of uncomfortable. Number three, no jimping at all up on top to help you lock into that knife very well. It's an interesting handle, but it doesn't feel well. You've got this kind of corner right here, digging into the palm of your hand. I mean, there were a number of things I didn't like. I like the blade, mostly. It was a nice sharp blade. It has a lot of potential as a nice kind of sweeping sheep's foot blade to do a lot of stuff. But there were some problems with it. So this is another one I felt like I had to kind of grab the bull by the horns and do a little work with. So I did. And this was my solution in the shop to some of the problems. Now, I didn't do anything with the handle. I just worked with the blade a little bit. And you can see I got rid of that flipper. I changed the shape of the blade a little bit to be more in line with the sheep's foot that I like. I took some blade off to let me get up under some material if I needed to. It is now a thumb stud opener, which works a lot better than the flipper did. It's got a lot better action with the thumb studs than with the flipper, and I lasered the logo back on and the 440C back on after I gave it a nice cobalt Cerakote coating. But the big thing was that stupid flipper. That is no longer there, which, if you can see, my hand fits on it much better now because I'm able to get just a little bit higher of a grip. I should have put some jimping in there, but I didn't. But the Omega flipper was just, it's a nice design. It looks cool and all. It just didn't, it wasn't there for me either. And, when you have to take the knife and put some modifications into it yourself, that doesn't say a lot about the design right there. But, since I did this, I have carried it and I have liked it a lot more. It has been a lot more comfortable for me to hold once I made some modifications to it. And, again, nothing to the handle. I'm going to work on that. But the problem is I'm going to have to take down that entire lanyard hole area. And I'm not ready to do that yet. And do some more stuff. It is a nice looking blade, though. I love the two-tone finish that they do. Just that flipper was ridiculous in how far it sweeps back into where your finger is supposed to go right there. I don't know what they were thinking with that. But it is what it is. So, November. And then finally, December. December was the Valkyrie. And this started what is now a 3-month-in-a-row Tonto thing for us. The Valkyrie is a very comfortable handle, actually. Again, tip-up right-hand carry, which is just fine for me. We've got jimping up on the thumb ramp again. Not a big fan of the black coating. Ravencrest does a beautiful stonewash and does a beautiful satin finish, so I like when they do that. This coating just, to me, looks a little bit cheap, but a nice Tonto. I'm not a fan of Tonto blades. I'm kind of not. It just, functionality wise, it's not my thing. But this is a nice knife. Love the handle. Handle's very comfortable. Not a huge fan of the blade, but compared to some of the other stuff that they've gotten to us, this is a pretty nice knife. Love the lanyard placement in the back there. Love the sculpting. Love the double choil there on the handle. And overall, with time to think about it, it's a nice knife. It is a really nice knife. I would have loved kind of more pizzazz to end the year off, you know what I mean? Like a real big, like, pa-da! For the December knife. But it's a good knife. It is a good, solid knife. Great lockup. Great finishing, as always. But it does, I mean, it is, you know, both the front angle and the main belly right there. Razor sharp out of the package, ready to cut, ready to do whatever you need. So. There we go. 12 knives, 12 months of Ravencrest Tactical. So for folks trying to decide if this is a subscription that you want to get into, even though you heard me say there are some knives I don't like, I will say again, I am happy with it overall. I mean, look, you're never going to be 100% happy with any subscription of anything ever. These guys do put together a good knife most of the time. And you know what? If you are unhappy every now and then, just put that knife aside and, you know, save it up till you get 10 of them and then trade it in for one of the mini OTFs. Which is a pretty good deal. You don't see a lot of other companies saying you can trade in stuff you don't like for something else. I am very critical with knives. I am. Everybody knows that. I've been called the Gordon Ramsay of knives. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But, you know, with my experience, I have been in situations, and, you know, whether it's training or real life, where a knife can save your life, or, you know, the lack of a good knife can be doom. I expect a lot from a knife. I hold them to high standards. I hold companies to a high standard. So when I complain, sometimes my complaints are a little bit more nitpicky than the average human being. I'll say it. And I'm not ashamed of it either. You know, somebody's got to hold companies accountable to providing good services and products for what people pay for them. Just because I say I don't like a design, or just because I say I don't like a particular thing, doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. There are certain things, like round knife handles, are bad. They are bad. They're not good for knives. But when I say I don't like this element, or I don't like this feature, that doesn't mean, you know, it's a bad feature. Except round knife handles. Round knife handles are bad. Have an indexing feature. But anyway, Ravencrest, I know they try hard. I know it's probably not easy to come up with a new design every month for 12 straight months and then start over, you know, every year. I think Ravencrest, you know, for those who ask me a lot, do you recommend Ravencrest? I do. I do. Like I said, for most of the knives, when you get it at the subscription price, I think you're getting a good deal. There's a lot of these knives I would not buy for the website price, but I would buy for the subscription price. So, you know, you can take it for what it is. So now, what do you guys think? Is there, you know, any 1 month you really, really like, or 1 month you really, really don't like, or have you seen something as I was going over these, you know, a feature of something that you think is really cool, or a feature that you think is absolutely horrible, or maybe something I said out there that you just don't understand, that, you know, you want to talk about? The forum is now yours in the comments. If you guys have not gotten in on the giveaway, it is a subscriber giveaway, so the one requirement is you got to be a subscriber to my channel. But other than that, it is a long video because I have 139 prizes to go out the door. So might have to watch it more than once to see it all. But, you know, there's some rules in it, and there's prizes galore. But that video, link is in the description. Amazon influencer page that so many of you asked me to set up, with almost every knife I've ever reviewed and other gear and everything too. You can find a link to that in the video description, as well as a link to my Patreon page, the Discord server, which is the best place to ask questions about the giveaway, by the way. Instagram, emails, all that other stuff, all in the video description. So please do take a look in the video description and see what's there, and click links and do that kind of cool stuff. But yeah, I'd really look forward to hearing from folks and see what they think. Looking at one whole layout, 1 month of Ravenpac. What do you guys think? Was anybody, this is a question I have, anybody that was on the fence about subscribing has seen all of these? Has it pushed you one way or another? Has it pushed you to, like, yes, you're going to subscribe, or pushed you to, like, okay, now hell no? And why? That would be an interesting thing to talk about. All right, guys, I got to put all these knives away now. So as I'm doing that, you guys peruse links and check out the giveaway and get in on that and everything. And please do not forget, ever, that you guys are all absolutely awesome. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will be back again real soon.